Hey everyone, welcome back to Skiff Talk, episode 3. Captain Connor Bryant with Tidal Waters Guide Service. Today we have two boats, both South Carolina built boats. We have a Drake Outlaw and we have a Delta 18. The Delta belongs to Captain Austin Young with Ace Outdoors. Captain, you want to tell us about your boat?
Hey folks, yeah, this is my Delta 18. It's made by Delta Boatworks, the guys up in Columbia, South Carolina, who also do the Xplor boats. This boat's about 18 foot 9 inches, and it floats in about 5 to 6 inches of water. It's pretty nice. It's a little bit bigger, so I can fit more people in here, so I can actually run about 3 people and myself. It's a Tiller 50 Mercury, and tons of storage in this boat. One of the things that I like the most is that it has a open space back here where I can put my Yeti box, turtle box, and lots of storage in the front as well. We got a huge compartment with a 12-gallon removable fuel tank. And in the back, we have a nice spot where you can mount your bucket. This boat with this 50 actually runs about 35 miles per hour, fully loaded, and with all your camping gear as well. This boat's pretty simple. It doesn't have a lot of electronics on there, so not a lot to go wrong. And it has a really nice starting price of about $30,000.
So I see that you have some different types of rod holders that we've been seeing on some of the other skiffs we've been doing walkthroughs on, and you also have a Yeti cooler as your, I guess it'd be your jump seat here. Now, when you get these boats, is this something that was a special that you ordered, or is this something that comes straight from the factory this way?
So from the factory, this boat's gonna come pretty bare bones. It won't have rod holders or rod tubes. It's not gonna have the Yeti seat or anything like that, or upholstery. It's gonna come pretty bare bones for $30,000, but that gets you a skiff ready to go on the water with a 50 horsepower. I added these rod holders. It's an option. You can actually get that from the factory, so I had them add that. And I've heard that these rod holders actually double up as push pole holders too. I added the cup holders, and the upholstery was done by someone local here, so.
Okay. Yeah, I love the open floor plan that you can see your bilge pump. That's really convenient, especially running charters, and
for sure.
You know, if it can go wrong, it usually does on the water. So being able to access that bilge is awesome.
Yeah, all the water just runs straight through, and cleaning this boat out is very easy. You don't get a lot of mold or anything, any water held up in here, and it doesn't sit in your garage and start to mold.
So for an 18-foot, almost a 19-foot boat, being able to float 5 to 6 inches, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, how does it, when you're running it, is it a dry boat? I know these Deltas are simple. They don't have trim tabs, and that's the idea, is simplicity. So is it a wet boat?
No, not at all. I really like the spray rails that they have on this. It keeps the water from splashing up on the customers, and it directs it all back down, but it also helps lift the boat out of the water quicker too. The boat itself has really good lines, and it's not super sharp V, so you're not gonna have a lot of drag when you're pushing those flats. And it actually does really well in chop, so it handles chop very well, and without the trim tabs, it drives great. It doesn't dolphin, and it doesn't, you know, tilt one way or the other. It's a very well-built hull, so you actually don't need the trim tabs in there. One thing that you might want trim tabs for is if you're trying to run long distances skinny. Help you kind of keep the back end up a little bit, but out here in Charleston, we don't do too much of that. So, you know, I can run in less than a foot of water, and it's still very comfortable, and haven't had any problems with that.
Awesome, awesome. It's a very unique hull. I love those spray rails.
Absolutely. It's a wider boat, but the hull itself is actually pretty narrow, so you're able to get still into those really skinny creeks and not have too many problems hanging up in the skinnier stuff. So with this Mercury 50, I'm actually still getting about 35 miles per hour with a 13-pitch 3-blade prop, and nothing else really done to make it go any faster, but the hull itself is just a great design and keeps you going pretty fast even with some weight on there.
So we're gonna move on to our next South Carolina built boat. It is a Drake Outlaw. Now this boat is 17 feet 3 inches. It has a 14-gallon fuel capacity. It needs around 4 inches to float, and it has a hull weight of 320 pounds. These are really well built boats. A very similar layout. One thing you'll notice, especially with some of the tiller built boats, is you're gonna have one large compartment up front, open cockpit design, and then normally a grab rail and your tiller. A lot of these tiller constructions they're simple, open, and that's the way everyone wants them. So same thing, your front compartment, you have open for storage, your safety equipment, and tucked back behind, you have your 14-gallon fuel tank here. Same thing, you have these large gutters that drain as well, so when you wash the boat, you don't have to worry about anything getting wet, and anything you want to keep dry, it stays nice and dry. This boat has all your rod storage facing forward. Again, similar to the Delta, you have a cooler as your forward jump seat. My understanding of these boats, they can also be very customized. So if you want to add any kind of mounted seat or anything like that, that can be done. What's unique with this boat compared to the Delta is this one actually has additional storage in the back, which on this boat, it's just more storage, some fly stuff, and that sort of thing. Your drain for your bilge is gonna be back behind. So this boat's not gonna actually have a wet bilge. It's just gonna have a flow through from your cockpit back to your actual bilge plug. With this particular skiff, he does have trim tabs here. He has Lincolns. And also this boat is powered with a Yamaha 25. The Yamaha 25, for the ones that are in this area that I've personally seen, it's pretty standard across the board. Cruising speed with this motor is gonna be 23, 24 knots with a max 27-ish. And another thing that you'll notice if you've been following all of our videos, similar to the Maverick, it kind of has recessed trim tabs as well, so they're going to be out of the way and not completely off of your transom, which is really important, especially when you start talking about fishing really tight areas, fish running under the boat. Just one less thing to worry about the fish popping that line on. And moving forward on this boat, again, this is another skiff where the owner has chose to use a casting stool. They're great. If you've been keeping up with our videos, you'll notice that it's been a very common thing that a lot of these guides and just these anglers have been choosing to put on the front of their boat. If you want to see any more about these stools, just click the link above. And I think that's going to wrap it up on the Drake. Again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. If you have any questions or want to see any other boats, leave a comment, and thanks for tuning in, guys.